No, yeah, it's a new table.
table, huh?
It's a new table from shout out to Armor Tools. They were nice enough to send it my way. Um, Today, why don't you break down your first or our first, technically yours because you're more on duty, kids summer break day.
I think it's too soon.
You should pivot. You should pivot. Like, look at the body length. The way you want. See, you want your clavicles pointing towards another because it shows body.
I thought that was too aggressive.
Well, listen. It's one thing when somebody flares up their clavicles at you. Yes, it's a peacocking motion. But there's also a way to non-flare. For example, they're down. Okay, they're not. This is very threatening when they're kind of shoulders together.
Thrusting.
You mean to tell me you don't feel nervous right now?
I know. I like it.
This is what they do in the animal kingdom, right? Do you think that's what, like birds? They flare up. They go. Arr!
Why is it your clavicles though? Why can't it be like your arms?
Well, because everything comes from the core, right? From the central body. Not, your arm strength is your arm strength, but as soon as you put the rest of your body into it.
Listen, your clavicles are like the weakest bone in your body.
It's the quickest one to break, yes, when you fall, and you've ruptured yours, right?
Yeah, see? You got a scar from it.
And tell the people how you did that.
I got in a fight with a bear.
Mm-hmm.
I won.
One of those weak northwestern
black bear.
Or did you get into like a nice off the coast of Siberia a polar bear from Taiga?
It was from Taiga. No, it was a snowboarding accident.
Okay, expand on that, because I think there's a little bit of a badassery that kind of goes with that. Because right now you say it's a snowboarding accident, and you sound like you're a mom that went up snowboarding and you fell and
on my first run.
On your first run, and you shattered your clavicle left and right. But expand on exactly.
So I started snowboarding when I was probably like, I can't remember, like maybe 12. And when I first started, I hated it. You do those first like 3 runs, and it's just the worst experience ever.
I didn't know you started at 12. I actually thought everything's predating to like 19 or something.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I started early.
No.
And because all like my cousins were snowboarding and they're older than me, and so I was like, I want to do it. And I thought snowboarding was so cool back then.
Mm-hmm. Now it just seems painful.
Now it's just painful,
My
and
knees
like
hurt
it seems like young people do it. Yeah.
It's a young man's game.
Yeah. I know. I'm just like, oh, I just remember like the pain you would get when you would because like with snowboarding you have to lean either back like towards like your toes or the opposite on your heels to turn a certain way. And I just remember like now when I see snowboarders going down, I'm like, oh, I just remember that like pain when you're the muscles in your legs right here, what is it, the calf muscle, it would just be on fire.
Oh, yeah.
Because you would just be turning, and like if it was like a long turn, I just remember that feeling, and I'm like, oh, I don't miss that. Anyway, so when I was 12, I started snowboarding. Like you do one of those things like I snowboard, but really you go like once a season.
Was that a thing to flirt with guys?
A lot of my friends did that, but I actually my parents went up because they skied, and so they took us up quite often, and so.
Your parents loved you. That's cool.
Yeah. And so
You don't have any childhood trauma. That's cool.
Yeah. Listen to episode whatever to hear about that side. What was I gonna say? Oh, and then just like over the years, I just kept snowboarding, loved it. Got good enough to like take jumps here and there.
Okay, pause there for a second, because there's something that happens that every gal intentionally does. I don't want to say every, because I don't want to generalize, but every single gal with their girlfriends does, and certain neurons are fired in guys' brains. And I'm speaking from being a young buck who snowboarded as well to just being a skiing dad now.
Skiing dad.
There's something you girls do. It's like there's only a few things that whenever like a girl does it,
it's really hot.
It's really hot.
And snowboarding is one of them?
Snowboarding's one of them. I remember
What's another one?
Riding motorcycles, right? Street bikes. So seeing a chick on a street bike.
Okay.
What was another one? You don't really see this, but like every once in a while you'll glance one of those Instagram accounts where it's like you'll find like some girl who like races cars, like
like a real,
and it's a legit souped up car. But then you kind of go like, well, to what extent are you just doing it? You know.
So basically, when girls are able to like do the guy sports basically.
In a way, but not like UFC. Like it's not like, oh, she
No.
boxes. Like that's hot.
There's like certain ones that will be.
What
like,
else
"Ooh,
is
that's
there?
hot."
Like you can't do that with baseball. You can't do that with golf. You can't do that with football.
same.
In fact, it's kind of gross that they do like lingerie football just to make it. And even then, I go like to you guys, I'm like, they're smashing each other on the field. Yeah, they're wearing lingerie and like shoulder pads and a helmet. But it's like, to me, it's as gross as like wrestling.
It's a little too physical.
It's a little too physical that you're trying to make sexy.
Right.
But for the most part, sure, water sports, but I don't think anybody goes like, oh wow, surfing.
Yeah.
Obviously surfing.
'Cause it's the same. It's that like.
So you have
I
surfing,
think it goes
motorcycle
both ways.
racing, maybe a little bit of car racing, and then snowboarding.
But it goes both ways. I think when guys, like, I find that really attractive too.
Like
But,
what? When guys
do, like, well, I guess when I was younger, snowboarding, but like even wake surfing and like just like there's certain sports that is like, ooh, that's
Well,
cool.
can you then generalize? Can you be like, no, it's just the fact that they're a sporty guy. They're not a couch potato guy.
No, because then you can say the same thing for motorcycles. Well, yeah, maybe that's a thing, but it's I know like girls are attracted to like the bad boy guy on a motorcycle too.
What happens in your guys' brain?
I was never attracted to
You
that.
never were trying.
I can't speak for the other girls who were. I actually
As somebody who
thought
grew up in a healthy environment and seems like a good head on your shoulders, like what is it that happens that girls are attracted to a bad guy?
The only thing I can think of is
Trauma.
maybe trauma, some weird daddy issues.
Yeah.
But, the only thing I could really think of is like that mentality of like, ooh, I want to like tame him kind of thing.
Oh, like fix him. So you guys are like ministry dating. You're
Kind
like,
of, yeah. That's the only
I'm
thing
gonna
I
invite
can
him
think
to
of,
church.
and that's why I think I wasn't attracted to that because I didn't like that.
sounds like a
mindset.
job.
But that's the only thing and I don't want to like obviously generalize because maybe there could be other reasons, but that's what I think it is. Like, oh yeah, I want to like he's the bad boy. I
Interesting.
want to change him. I
Interesting.
want to be the person
Is that
he settles down with, kind of thing. I don't know. If
You're
that
like
makes
you're
sense.
like
Yeah.
no. You know what I think comes from? Because I look at everything from like the primordial, like ancestral, like thing. Like what happened 100 years, 1,000 years ago. That like the generations, like the lineage change. And what's interesting is I at first I didn't know like what part of your genetic code is like wanting to do that. But then you started saying like I want to help him be better. That's the nurturing side of you kicking in. But it's
sweaty.
It's I turn down the fan. It's 95 degrees outside, and you girls don't sweat. Are you not hot?
I'm hot. I just don't sweat.
You don't sweat. This is why when we
I'll
did
run
that,
like 6 miles and just be like.
Did you
barely
sweat on the
dripping.
treadmill?
Not today because I didn't run very much, but I did sweat yesterday, really bad. So just depends on the day.
I've actually
I think
never
it's
seen.
how much water I drink.
I've never seen sweat coming down
I
from
don't
your
like
face.
pour sweat. I'll just have like a little bit of just like up
I wish
here.
I could say that. I sweat as soon as it gets to
Beckham's
like
like you.
75 degrees. I'm like I'm sweating.
Yeah. Anyway.
So okay,
Going back to-
so it's about fixing. It's about fixing that guy. That's where you guys are thinking it from. Because there's another primordial like aspect of it. The bad boys. And I've heard this and it makes sense. They say, which is kind of an opposite the way your theory behind it, because your theory is the bad boy, I'm gonna fix him. And I think the majority of the girls, and this is from hearing like some credible people saying this, the bad boy part comes from 100, 500, or 1,000 years ago. It was women because it's all about populating the earth. And so many people died from illnesses and diseases and starvation during the winter and stuff like that. So the women, they would want to marry or find a mate that would protect her and her children, or the future children they would have. The animal kingdom does the same thing. They're like, which not host, but which specimen, I guess, would be the one that protects my children and us. And so I wonder if this whole bad boy mentality, it's like the aggression. Like I listened to a podcast with a gal.
Maybe it goes back way farther than we think.
Well, I listened to a podcast with she teaches at Stanford about testosterone, and one of the things she's saying, testosterone in males is producing like two traits that it doesn't produce with estrogen. One trait is aggression, and the other trait is the sexual drive. That's why guys have a higher sexual drive than women do. But the aggression part is the interesting part. It's like those two characteristics are one of the big deciding differences between estrogen and testosterone. And so I wonder if the whole like aggression part is like part of like this genetic code where you're the ancestors had to find men who could protect them and their children.
That would make sense.
So I wonder if one part, and then the other part is like, yeah, but I'm going to domesticate him.
Yeah. I want to be the one.
Yeah.
And tell all my friends.
So go ahead. Okay, so you grew up...
Going back?
Yeah.
Oh, going back to snowboarding, yeah. Yeah, so I would go up with like a bunch of guys all the time and be like basically the only girl. It was usually me, and sometimes my sister would come. Sometimes like I would bring a friend, but there was a lot of times I would just go up with them myself.
With the guys?
Yeah.
Look at you.
It was mostly my cousins, and then they would bring some friends, but...
how you have to. That's the way to find date a guy. It's like you go.
I didn't like any of their friends. Because I'll be honest.
Well, thank God you didn't like any of that. but it's like a good safe space where you're like, okay, these are my cousins.
Right,
They don't hopefully not hang out with schmucks and
right. It was good though because I always just felt like I was part of the group because they were almost like my older brothers always.
I hate when girls say that.
Really?
I hate when girls say that. Oh, he's like a brother to me. Like
I didn't say that. They weren't
your cousins. No, if you're talking about your cousins, that's a go. Oh, I thought you mean.
About.
Oh, I thought you mean these
no,
buddies of theirs.
No,
I'm like, I hate when girls say like he's like a brother to me.
No. I hate when people say that too. That's never the case ever.
You know what I'm talking about, right? You know what I'm talking. Yeah.
Yes, and that's never the case. We're just lifelong friends because he's like my brother.
We're living together, but he's like a brother to me. I could never think about it. Like, oh, you're gonna hook up somewhere.
Yeah, seriously. No, my cousins were basically like my older brothers because I didn't have older brothers, and they were my only cousins on my mom's side.
Okay.
And so, I mean, there was multiple times they would live with us or we would live with them while we were between houses. Anyway, so
that sounds like you're homeless when you say you're between houses.
No, like when we would build a house and we would like sell it and live with them.
Because if I told them between jobs, what does that mean?
Jobs, yeah, that's true. We were just between houses.
Okay, so
they were kind of like my cousins were kind of like my older brothers, so I knew I had that like protection over me, like I was in a safe space, like you said. But anyway, it was fun. We would go snowboarding all the time for years, and then when I was 19, we were up at I can't remember where it was, Bogus probably, the closest ski resort here, which is like what 30 minutes away, 45-ish, and that day, a bunch of people went up. It was like there was like probably like 20 different
And how old
people.
are you at this point?
19.
19. You started at 12, you're 19.
Yeah.
So you know what you're doing.
Comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable on my board. I have been snowboarding for a while, and I got to a point where I would like take jumps here and there. I wasn't like extreme, but I got to a point where I was very comfortable. So and then having this like big group of people come, and there was like these new somebody was visiting from out of state, and you're like they're trying to like impress some guys
because you saw somebody that you're like, oh, they're kind of whatever.
So yeah.
Look at you. So
we were all snowboarding, and how like skiers don't do this as much, but snowboarders will like be in like a pack. Did you guys ever do that?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
But it's usually the pack of the people you come with. It's never.
So like there's like a pack, and it would be like 5 of us, and we would stop at every jump, and then we would just take turns.
Yep.
And once you hit the jump, you stop at the bottom
and you watch
the next person. So it was like this ongoing thing, and it was great. It was a great night. It was a little bit icy, but it was fine. The very last
nighttime
run,
skiing?
It got to night. We were there all day long.
But when this happened, this was nighttime.
Yeah, so nighttime rolls around. Bogus closes at 10 p.m. We all did one run, and then it was like 9:58, and we're like, let's get on the lift one more time. So we were able to get on the lift, one last run, and then as we're like going down, the snow park is closed.
Usually, right?
Which is like where all the jumps are. They have like, what else do they have? They have the magic carpet, the rails and stuff.
Oh, yeah, at the park. Called? The park. Yeah. Grinding rails, boxes,
yes, all those things. So, but the thing was, it was closed.
So you guys are like,
did something.
So the lights were off?
No, the lights were on. Just that park had like a closed sign.
They put a closed up, but it was well
you can
visible.
go around
I'm thinking like it's dark and you guys, oh, it's closed. Let's go.
No,
Like,
the lights were all still on.
But
It was closed. And so we're like, let's just go. And so everybody started racing down to like not
my
get in
heart's
trouble.
racing because like as an adult I go, we're gonna get in trouble. Don't.
I can't believe I was like that. Knowing myself now, I would never do that. I'd be like,
what do you?
but because I think the peer pressure, it was like everybody was doing it. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna like be the only one to go around.
All right. By the way, you're such a mom because you just adult. I mean, like you did this X with your hands, like gestures.
I am an
for
adult.
people who are just listening.
Oh,
like,
man.
oh look, X.
No,
X.
I'm done.
No.
I'm out of here. But because everybody was just go, and they like as we were sitting in the group of people, they're like, this time we're all gonna hit the jumps, but we're not gonna stop. Just keep going till the end because
we're gonna get busted.
Yeah, we're gonna get in trouble. So everybody's going down, and I'm like, oh, last run. You know, like you get this like adrenaline rush. Your last run, you want to do like really well. So I take the first jump. I don't remember what happened. Honestly, it's still like a blur in my mind because I hit my head so hard. But I think it was, I can't remember if it was the first jump or second jump. But so I hit the first jump. I'm following somebody and somebody's behind me. And so I'm like, I got to, like do the best jump I could do.
Because you have this thing, and it seems like you even did that when you were 19.
I'm competitive.
You're so competitive in a way that even when we go skiing right now, if I go first,
yeah.
you'll always just kind of pace yourself and be behind me, and you'll never try to beat me. But if I fall, and I fall a lot, and then you going forward, you're not gonna let me pass. That's the most interesting
this
part.
competitive side that comes out of me when I'm like it's like when I'm being watched or I'm being, I don't know.
You're on the spotlight, I guess. Yeah.
Maybe that's it. So anyway, there's like a couple people behind me, but I was like one of the last people to go. So I hit the first jump and I just like flew so high and I got like really nervous in the air. Instead of like calming myself and trying to land, I basically like fell on my head. And I get up and I think I had this like...
So you hit it too hard and so you kind of panicked?
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
So I hit the jump too hard and I panicked in the air, and instead of...
You're like, this is not what I'm used to, the elevate.
Yeah,
okay.
Mm-hmm. And it was really icy. So like, I think what happened is like my board kind of hit and then I just like flew on my head. Anyway, I had this like shock and I remember like tasting the metal. Mm-hmm.
They say that all the time. When you get like a concussion, you taste metal.
I tasted metal immediately. But the crazy thing is I was in such shock. I got up, went on another jump and fell again.
You did not do that. Why?
I'm an idiot. I don't know.
That's such a guy thing to do.
Know. I was in such shock. I think I was like, I'm fine. And I didn't want to like, I still had that fear of like getting in trouble.
You're like, let me put my blood back in my body.
Fell again. So I don't know which time it was that I broke my collarbone, but the second time I fell, I lay there for a good second, and there was a couple of people that were behind me, and they were like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's fine. Just keep going."
I do this thing sometimes where there's blood in my brain,
and and nobody waited for because I think I kind of told them like, "I'm fine," and then so everybody just kept riding because they didn't want to get in trouble, and then I'm sitting there. I was like, "Okay, I'm just gonna give myself like 1 minute. I'm gonna get up," and so I start getting up, and I try to put weight, to get up, and I like couldn't, and I'm like,
gives out.
Oh no. I like legitimately could not get up.
You know who the other people who experience that are? People who like, and this is the most grossest thing in the world, is like they will like rip a muscle or completely break their bone in half on their leg
and try to stand on it.
Like you'll see in UFC stuff, like
yes,
the guy
we
with
did
the,
see that.
remember when the guy
like bending
threw
under
a kick
him?
And the calf like from the shin down,
yeah, because it's like all just muscle at that point.
Broke in half. And he kicked it, and the thing flung like a scarf. And he went back, put his foot back, stood on it, and he's like, "I can't stand." That's what that is. That is.
It is. I tried for probably like 10 minutes to put weight on it, and the scariest thing was at this time, I don't think I had my phone on. I don't think I had a cell phone. I don't think I brought it with me because I remember thinking, "Oh no, I'm stuck."
What was your cell phone at that time? Was it one of those Nokia phones, or
yes, it was like a flip.
Phone? Was it a flip? What kind of flip? Did you got the Razor?
Samsung. No.
Samsung.
Not at that time. No, maybe at that time it was. Maybe it was a Razor at that time.
Sidekick
I totally had a Razor. No, I never had a Sidekick. I did have the.
Do you remember how stupid that thing was? You flip the screen over.
I had friends that did it. It was so
The
cool.
dumbest thing.
I did have a hot pink Razor at one point.
I had a hot pink Razor. I had a hot pink Razor because I had shaggy hair and I thought I was the shit.
So cool. And then I had the BlackBerry.
Did you ever have the lipstick phone?
No.
So the lipstick phone, it's like it literally looks like two of your like index fingers, like over each other, and then you open it, and that's how what it is. And the screen is probably like half an inch wide by
I remember
like
seeing
2
those,
inches
yeah.
tall. It's
like
the dumbest thing in the world.
They were all. I had a BlackBerry. Maybe it was the time I had BlackBerry. I don't know, but anyway, so I can't get up, and I'm sitting there going like, this is the worst thing in the world because the ski resort is closed. I'm gonna be stuck up here. There's nobody coming down. And
now
I kept
usually
looking.
snow parks are at the bottom of the mountain. So
No, it wasn't. It was like actually at the top.
oh, back then it was, huh?
Yeah, this specific one was at the top, and I was like, and I kept watching to see if anybody was coming down, but because they
Oh, is this the one at Bogus
10,
that's up and then to the left?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, now yeah, because that's
Yes.
definitely that's almost to the top.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was basically at the very
Yeah, yeah.
top, and I was like, well, nobody's gonna be coming down from the top because they closed the lifts. Like the lifts weren't even running, and I'm like, oh my gosh, okay.
It's getting dark.
It's already dark.
It's already
It's
dark.
10 p.m. After 10. It was probably.
My
Yeah.
palms are sweating.
And so I'm just sitting there, and I'm like about to cry because I don't know what to do, and it's starting to hurt.
Did you try rolling like
Yes,
rolling?
I tried. I remember I tried everything. I tried to like go on just this side
opposite
and like
side?
yeah, and I was like, there's just no way to get up. So I think I probably would have figured something out if
Push came to shove. Yeah.
if it. But luckily, ski patrol coming down. He sees me. So I think they do like a sweep of the mountain.
They do. No, they always
which
do.
is
Yeah.
awesome
Yeah.
because I would have just been left there by myself. Anyway, ski patrol comes down, and the first thing he asked me, he's like, were you here? Did you this park is closed. I was like, oh, I came down here before it closed.
Oh, and I've been here for the last 3 hours.
But he didn't. I mean, at
You
that point, he
lied
didn't
to
care.
a rescuer.
I did. I don't want to.
You should have been like, sorry, I'm an idiot. Like
I didn't see, or maybe I said something like I didn't see that it was closed. I don't know.
Okay, that's a
I
different
made
story. That's a
something
different.
up.
That's okay. If you say I didn't see, that's a different. But like to be like so blamed, like oh, I was here before it
No,
closed. Like,
I made something up, but anyway, I was also I think so like that shock started wearing off, and I think he saw that I
Pain,
was like
yeah.
starting to panic,
Yeah.
and I was like, I can't get up. I think at that time I thought I broke my arm or something.
Also, screw that guy for like seeing a person laying, probably
The
already
first thing
seeing,
he asked
and
me.
he goes, "You know it was closed."
I know.
Be like, no, hey,
I was
dude.
like, I'm hurt.
It's like, hey, are you okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he tried helping me up. It started hurting so bad. I was like, I can't. Like, I can't even put weight on it. And he's like, okay. So he ended up calling the people who have like the sled behind them.
Yeah.
No. Sorry, not that. He was on a snowmobile.
Oh, okay.
So he helped me get up, pulled me on the back of a snowmobile, and I had to ride down with him.
Okay. Well, that's fine.
But luckily, it wasn't on one of those like little gurneys. or
Why?
whatever.
Who cares? I don't think you need to focus on like which way. Like, is it? It's not an embarrassing
I was
thing.
kind of embarrassed though because I had
I
to ride
think-
down with him.
I think
and people,
that-
like watched. to
Well,
see,
but
'cause
that
he had
was
to, like,
towards
put my
the-
snowboard in
But
the
that's
back.
towards the end, though, right?
That's true, yeah. And then because nobody. This is another thing because I was up there for so long. I actually honestly don't know how long I was up there waiting for somebody because. By the time I got down, they were actually calling my name on the intercom.
Really? So they already had a
Because
search
somebody
thing
was
for you.
looking for me. They were looking for me.
Your
The
cousins.
yeah.
If I was to put money on it.
No, it was my cousins. Yeah, they were, which was kind of cool because I was like, oh, they care.
Yeah.
Thank you for remembering that I drove up with you.
Yeah. I feel like we had
Yeah.
somebody else in
Yeah.
here.
So they were like calling my name on the intercom.
Irina Kondratiak.
Kondratiak. Anyway, I ended up going to like the medic there and he didn't know. what
It's
was
a school
going on.
nurse. It's a school nurse.
It's 100% a school nurse.
School nurses should not be a thing. Like, put
You know
a
what else
real
sucked?
nurse in there.
Yeah.
What?
You know what else sucked? I had like 4 layers on and tried taking off clothes.
Oh, I can imagine.
Well, you have that like and at that time I didn't know it was broken, but he was like, "Do you think you could take like your shirt, your 4 shirts off?"
What
and
a
I was
perv.
like,
What a perv.
and I said, "I don't think I can." And so he kind of just like looked at it and was like, "I don't know. It could be broken. You need to go to the ER."
Could they feel it and be like, "Oh yeah, that's not connected"?
I had like basically a turtleneck, so like you
Oh,
couldn't
you're one of those Amish girls that's snowboarding.
So I remember on my way down, I called my mom and was like, I think I broke my collarbone, but I was like very calm.
So you already diagnosed yourself.
Yeah, I had a feeling. Like, when you can't put weight on something, you just know. And at
Well,
that
yeah.
point, it
But
started
this school
hurting.
nurse of a ski patrol
I know.
guy,
He's
he's
like,
like,
I don't
"Ah,
know.
it could-"
He's like, it could be broken, it could be not. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh,
Well,
cool.
cool, man.
Thanks.
Thanks.
So, and it sucks because you have to drive down like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And so I called my mom first and I was like, Mom, I think I broke my collarbone. we're coming down right now. And
Well, she goes, hello, Irina.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, she goes, Master, I have problem.
And she told me later she didn't believe me. She's like, you were too calm. I didn't think you broke your collarbone.
That's because you're tough.
Yeah. And I was like, anyway, by the time we got down, I was like in so much pain because the shock started wearing off and I started feeling everything, especially my head too. It wasn't just my collarbone, which I never got like my head checked out. And so it probably was a concussion. I just didn't know. Anyway, my mom ended up taking me to the like urgent care ER that night. It ended up being broken. So I had to get like a sling, and then I actually got surgery on it. That's why I have a scar. They put it because it was like this.
Side by side.
Yeah, they like went like that. And so one was like sticking out. So you could see this big bubble right here. Yeah. That was the bone sticking out. And then so they put it together and then put a metal plate over it with like actual screws in my in my body.
What, are you gonna put glue on it?
Yeah, I mean,
I still have my screws.
Yeah, but then they ended up taking the plate out because he told me, he was like, we're gonna put this in but because it's such a sensitive part of your body, like whenever you put like a seatbelt on or like your purse, you're gonna feel that plate rubbing against your
because it's so like tight to the skin.
You don't have muscle there.
No,
it's just skin and bone.
Well, you haven't seen my clavicles.
They're nice.
You like that? That's me flexing on them.
Anyway, so that was my snowboarding experience. It was quite.
Yeah, listen.
My only broken bone ever.
Only ever. Well, you and I are 1 for 1.
Besides my few concussions. But.
3 concussions. You know, it's funny when you were telling me about like, did it ever get dark in your eyes when you hit your head?
Oh yeah. I
remember, and here's a sucky part. Well, not sucky part.
It was kind of like that whole Seeing Stars. It's exactly how it feels.
So I used to have a video when, again, same thing, 18, 19 years old, snowboarding. And we're all hitting these jumps in Washington at Snoqualmie Mountain. And I remember my buddy Tim and I at that time, like same thing, right? You're sitting, you go hit the jump, you did it, and you sit down. And there used to be a video. And he took it with like a Motorola phone, so it's like
really grainy. Yeah.
And I wish it was like with an iPhone, so it'd be like on the cloud somewhere. But I remember seeing this video of me taking this jump, and then same thing as I either hitting, I think tipping forward or whatever I did. Yeah. But one thing I do specifically remember hitting that jump, and then my hand coming up. And me knocking myself unconscious with my own my hand. And so there's this video of me going, boo, and then not moving.
You just lay there?
Just lay there for like 12 seconds or something like that. And I was like,
oh my gosh.
But I do remember how pitch dark it got my eyes.
Yeah. It's so weird. It was like,
yeah.
And then all of a sudden you come back.
It was a pure knockout. I don't know if being knocked out is the same thing as a concussion.
I mean, it could be. I
think. Could be. I have heard, because they have coming out with more and more science about concussions and
concussions.
Who said that?
I don't know who said that.
That was from something like
concussions.
I feel like either our kids said it.
Maybe one of our kids said it. I feel like Beckham would say it.
Concussions. Well, he's the one that got a concussion.
Yeah.
But they're saying that kids who are even playing pee-wee football are already seeing signs and traits in them, like multiple concussions.
Well, that's the thing. I think so many concussions go like undiagnosed, or because nobody comes in, they just think it's like, oh, I fell on my head. Yeah. I think there's a lot of times you get one and you don't even know you had one.
But there's also brain injury without actually having a full blown concussion.
I can never say it the right way.
That's what concussion. You can never say concussion.
Never again. Not after you butchered it.
Oh, butchered it. Well, I think it's one of our kids did it. But yeah, no, that's one thing that I'm like, I don't want the kids to play some of these sports. Just not from an overprotective helicopter parent. No, it's like purely like I want you. Yeah. Listen, your brain is you. That's who you are as a person. And if that part gets severed.
No. Yeah.
It's like I'd rather live with one arm than have damage to my brain.
Yeah, because that's your personality. That's what makes you.
Your creativity. I've met so many people who like a very popular thing right now in the last couple of years is like for like fitness and your workout routine is to meet with like a boxing trainer and work the mitts and stuff like that, because it's good arm workout, crazy cardio.
Oh yeah,
and your back too, right? So your back muscles. And you can get shredded pretty quickly on that, the intensity. But the thing, and I've done a little bit of that, so I understand the level of endurance you have to have. One thing they will all say the same is like, we will not, like, I mean, we're talking about like celebrities, like A-list celebrities are doing, and they're like, no, we don't spar. Like, if you spar, you're an idiot. You're going to get hit in the head. And
it's purely for the exercise.
Well, they're saying the majority of your success is because of your brain. Well, yeah, opportunities and stuff like that. So like, you get whacked in the head a little bit too often, hey, you're not going to be the same successful person.
Right.
And so I was like, that's such a good point.
Right.
That's such a good point.
I know.
I was going to sign up on a little bit of boxing, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to get hit in the head.
Well, what if you just for the sport?
For the mitts, hit the mitts? Yeah, that's
like
fine.
Like with a bag or something?
Yeah. Well, the bag's fine. And it's really fun when the person...
I did some videos with like kickboxing. Yeah. It is intense.
Oh, 100%.
So intense.
See, the bag gets a little bit boring because I used to have a bag before, and it's really on your motivation. But if you have somebody out there with mitts that's catching your punches... It's a little bit more real. You have a little bit more of this endorphin release, this like energy kind of going. It's a little bit hard to motivate yourself and be like, okay, I'm going to go full blast for 20 minutes right now. That's a little difficult. But yeah, no, the whole getting hit in the head, you got to protect that thing. Like, I have like a little bit of anxiety. Like today, while I was working, the boys got on their scooters and skateboards, and I was like, hey, put a helmet on, dude.
I have to tell them, especially with their scooters, they think they don't need to wear a helmet, even on the scooter. I was like, oh no, you put the helmet on.
Yeah.
They were going to ride to the park on their scooters without helmets.
Yeah, man, that's...
I was like, even just for... Yeah, you just don't know. You never know.
Going back to this whole snowboarding thing, so we're talking about how, like, girls, that's like their way of, like, flirting with guys, and they think they're so hot. Here's the funniest part to me. You go in the mountain, and if you're geared out, right, like you have the cute jacket that's fitted and the cute pants that's fitted and the cool Oakley goggles and the white, black, or pink helmet, whatever. Or sometimes you're like... Also,
that was the dumbest thing I could have done. I spent that whole time from 12 years old to 19 or...
No helmet?
No helmet. Whoa. I never once wore a helmet. I was such an idiot.
But you know what?
My first helmet was when we started skiing. When we got married.
I bought you your first helmet.
Yeah. Isn't that so sad?
I care about your brain.
Never, ever let my kids go snowboarding without a helmet.
I can't judge you for that because nobody wore a helmet. In
Not
fact, the people that wore a helmet back then were like squares. They're like, oh, look at you wearing a helmet.
A little bit too much.
Now, I remember actually going skiing 2 years ago here, and with my other buddy who was in his early 40s, late 30s maybe. And he was like, hey, am I an idiot for not wearing a helmet right now? Because he's the only one.
Now everybody wears helmets. Yeah. Everybody.
Good luck finding somebody in the beanie. No, you're not going to find them.
Nope. Well, the nice thing, too,
except my buddy who can.
Not only is it safe, but it actually keeps you really warm.
They're really comfortable. Helmets, snowboarding helmets are really...
I don't know why I spent that long I can't believe my parents let me.
But
nobody really did back then.
So you're decked out and all stuff, but here's the most interesting thing. And there's something still happens with the guy's brain. They go, oh, she's cute. You can't see her face. Her goggles are covering her, like 3/4 of her face. She's got a helmet on.
All of a sudden,
and then she's got a cool burden jacket that goes up to her neck. But for some reason, the guy's like, oh, she's probably hot. You don't know.
But it's that like,
something kicks in where you're like, oh, you snowboard and you got really cool gear. You're probably hot. And then what's even worse is those same girls will go into the lodge to go get lunch or something like that, and the goggles will come off, but their face is burnt like from the wind already. You know what I mean? Like it's like swollen and red. And you're like, oh, nobody is above a 4 on this mountain.
No. Nobody looks good on a...
You got no makeup. Your face is red and swollen from the cold.
Your makeup's just all like...
And the same thing for guys, too. Except sometimes you'll see those guys there's like, you don't have an ugly day, do you? Like, usually it's those guys...
It's probably you, actually.
No. I'm especially like my poor excuse for a beard. Like, I remember every time I take like my mask off or something like that, like the hairs would be pointing to the side and I look like a wet cat.
I don't remember that.
Especially when I used to have... I think this is actually going to be the first winter here coming up that I actually started buzzing my hair off. And so even when back then, like I would take my helmet off and this like weird hair, like be like skinny up top and thin, the matted. I was like, oh, this is horrible. Yeah. It's except there are those guys out there. Those are the guys that are like long hair. They can't look ugly, man.
I feel like everybody has a day they look ugly.
Yeah, man. So that's our youth right there, huh?
I don't miss it. I don't miss the snowboarding. Every once in a while, like I'll see some snowboarders and I'm like, oh, that was just, it was fun doing it while being young and a teenager because everybody else was doing it. But I don't remember anything being like, there was nothing relaxing about it. But skiing,
there is, I know exactly what you mean. And I do think when you're young like that,
you don't care.
well, I think you do things what the majority does, and you do things out of coolness, and you don't focus on things that make you happy or you're comfortable.
No, really do get sucked into peer pressure when you're young.
Or the motivation, right? So like, okay, so I remember being young and dumb and like spending a bunch of money on dumb jeans that were like designer jeans, like Rocking Revival's True Religions, and you're like, these are obnoxious.
True Religion. Oh,
remember those?
Yes.
Or Rocking
They
Revivals.
were so obnoxious looking too.
Rocking Revivals were usually even more obnoxious because they had like these like white stitched, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so you're like, why am I
Sevens.
doing this? But then the reality is like when you get older, you end up kind of going like, you know what I love to do? Is I love to find a good quality product that fits good and is not expensive, and that's what like really gets you excited.
Mm-hmm. Or even doing hobbies that bring you joy versus just like everybody else is doing it. I want to fit in, or there's a cute boy that's going up to the mountain too. I want to go too.
Remember,
it's true. I think the motivation behind it is so different.
Remember pulling all-nighters like New Year's Eve to New Year's Day. I specifically remember the most torturous part of my youth was in terms of peer pressure is like New Year's Eve, you would hang out with your friends, this big group of friends, and then you would pull an all-nighter. And then in the morning, nobody got even a wink of sleep. You drive for a few hours to go skiing somewhere. Mm-hmm. So you're sleep deprived at this point for 48 hours.
And you ski all day or snowboard all day.
Snowboard all day with no helmet on. And I remember with me how much I think I snowboarded for a total of maybe 4 years. And I specifically remember the feeling I would get these nasty leg cramps all the time. And it's because I'd constantly keep like slowing myself down, like grinding down because of ice. And I would eat bananas and drink Gatorades and actually had potassium supplements. Nothing helped. There were moments where like my legs would lock in. You know what I mean? Like the
leg cramps hurt so bad.
And I was one of the few ones of all my friends that had that. And I was like, so I was always basically the first one to be like, hey, I'm done. Versus now skiing, it's so chill that actually I sound like a young kid. Like, it's so chill, bro. It's so mellow that I'm always like, no, let's keep going. Let's do another run. Let's do,
I also think when you're snowboarding, it's like everybody's like, no, one more run. Let's do another run. Let's go. Keep going. So you're like constantly going like 100%. Mm-hmm. Versus now, I'll be like, hey, let's go get lunch now. Why don't we gonna? Versus like back then, it was like, no, we gotta do one more run.
Yeah, you had to maximize. That was the dumbest thing in the world. You had to maximize the most amount of ski time on the mountain.
Yes, you would go get lunch for like 20 minutes and then go back out.
But we also didn't have money for lunch, so we were like, oh, I brought mine. Whatever. I'm drinking my lunch right now.
Yeah.
But now it's like the experience as an adult is like, hey, how about we go? Well, a lot of it also comes down to like with kids, the trick that I learned to get them to ski is like, hey, put in a solid hour right now, and then we'll go get hot chocolate.
And they love that.
And then they look forward to it. So it's a whole experience. So they never go like, I want to go home. They're actually the ones that usually whine like, really? Come on, like, let's get a couple more runs in. I'm like,
yeah, that's good.
Okay, well, Beckham is usually the one that can't hang too long. But Jackson was like, come on, let's do one. I'm like, dude, he's tired. Right. I'm done babysitting you guys.
I think, back then it was like because you spent this money, you wanted to like squeeze in as much as you could in that one day. But now it's like, even if we go for like 2-3 hours. Now as an adult, fine.
Like, hey, I'll pay you equal amount of money if I can go home. Yes. Because I want to go rest my ankles.
I had a great time, but now I'm done.
I want to go rest my ankles, and I want to pour myself a glass of wine.
Seriously. And I remember my parents would do that. We would kind of laugh at them when I was young. When I was like 16, 17, we would be snowboarding, and they would come up for the day. And so we would see them like periodically. And they would go for like 2 hours and then leave. And I'm like, who does that? Now we do it. Now I understand.
Did you see that, if we're on the topic of nostalgia, the movie that's coming out, I think tomorrow, or has already come out yesterday or today? Oh, actually, today I think it's coming out today.
The new
Today's
Top
24.
Gun?
No, actually, good guess because
That's
they
coming
were
out
gonna.
soon, right?
Well, did they?
The second
Are
one?
they choosing to release it again? Because I remember they had a trailer.
Oh, I don't know.
And then
Somebody told
COVID
me it is
stopped
coming
it.
on the
So they are
movies.
doing it again.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. No, it's not that. Fast and the Furious 9.
Oh, that's right. When does it come out? We should go watch it.
Today, I think.
Really?
Yeah. Fast and the Furious 9.
My parents get back tomorrow night. We should go
You want to go watch it?
Sunday.
That is, isn't it? First of all, I appreciate that you're like, let's go watch it. Not like that's dumb. Let's go. It's such a
It's
silly.
nostalgic.
It's such a nostalgic thing.
Because it is. Like, you watch it and you're like, this is actually kind of dumb, but it's actually.
It's 100% dumb. The
But-
scenes. I'm gonna list you a couple of scenes. One scene is 5 race cars get launched. The back of an airplane hangar opens up. They drive off of them, deploy their parachutes, land on a road, and like a mountain road, on a mountain road, not an open desert, on a mountain road, heavily forested. Keep driving. Okay. Here's another scene from another one of their, I don't, maybe 7, 8, 9. They got a little bit more ridiculous with each one.
They did. They kind of upped it just enough.
They found not a supercar, but apparently there's a hypercar, which is not a thing. They went in like Abu Dhabi, this prince of whoever. They're at this like skyscraper.
Is this the latest one?
This is, I think, the last one or the one before that. They are looking for, I don't remember, some kind of computer chip or module or whatever. But they walk into like this penthouse suite of this skyscraper in like Abu Dhabi, in Dubai, and he walks in, and Paul Walker does this dumb thing where he says like, "Oh, that's the hypercar." What? What's a hypercar? And Vin Diesel, being the macho dude he is, lifts the car up. So like, where is it? He's like, oh, it's probably underneath the car. So, and it's this like super sports car, right? He lifts it up, and I don't remember if he found it or not. But the scene ends with them obviously fleeing away, and guess how they fled away? They drove it through the front of the glass and jumped it off the building.
Easy peasy.
The dumbest things, but you got to think about, because yes, it all progressed over time. They were jumping off of bridges.
They had to do something different each time. And so, like, how different can you make it?
One thing they did different, because it was from day one, it was obnoxious, and the obnoxious part is from day one, they were like, we're gonna drive underneath semi trucks to go jack them for their stereos and rims and body kits, and then they kept upping the craziness. Here's the thing. They only made it cooler because they now have no supercar cars. They have supercars and apparently a hypercar.
It is. It's a nostalgia. Like, this has progressed. What is this, like number 9 or something?
Yep. Oh, and by the way,
insane.
can I tell you this? One of the highest grossing franchises
Ever. Yeah.
of movie making.
People love it.
And I think they're on their 5th or 6th director.
Yeah.
So it's not the same director guy. I mean, it's
well,
these
you
directors.
Can tell, yeah.
Well, these directors are like, hey, I want to make a bunch of money.
You know what the funniest thing is, though? You go back and watch like the first few, and they are so cheesy. So cheesy.
There is a TikTok account that everybody needs to follow who's a Fast and the Furious fan. It's called Semi-Stupid, I think. Semi-Stupid. And it's this guy who has this high quality vertical video content creation. Was this guy long hair? It looks like a Southern California guy, and he does this thing where he has the camera facing him, and it's super high at visual pixelation and stuff like that. And he's acting out the other person. He's in a movie scene, basically. He's creating his own movie scene. He's acting in as if he's at home creating this movie scene, having this conversation with this actor from Fast and Furious. And I would say 9 out of 10 of his pieces of content is Fast and Furious stuff. So he'll take an original scene, but he'll make up his side.
I've seen that. You showed me some of those clips.
Yeah. So he'll be like, hey, Tom, thanks for hanging out the other day, man. Hey, real quick. Hey, don't drink out of that beer. Toretto was pissing in it the other day. And then you see a real scene of Dominic Toretto from that thing, but it flows so well. So he's like having this.
Yeah, I see. He does that with other movies too, right?
There's a few, but I would say the majority of his content is Fast and Furious stuff, which is
hilarious.
I
do want to see it. I feel
Semi-Stupid's account. You got to look it up.
It's so funny.
Oh my gosh, it's so great. But it's all this nostalgia. It's like
I think also in this newest one, there's more like Jason Statham is in it.
No, is it? I know. What's his name? The boys make jokes about him. John Cena's in it.
Oh, was it John Cena? I thought
John
it was Jason
Cena,
Statham.
different muscular white guy that's bald.
No, but John Cena was in the other ones too, right? No, I think it's Jason Statham.
Jason Statham was in one of them or two of them maybe.
But didn't they do that weird like cliffhanger in one of them with him, and then never like, I don't know.
I don't know.
I thought I saw some previews with him in it. So
well, Jason Statham? Yeah,
In
they
the
did a
newest
cliffhanger
one.
before, but that was
no, in this newest one.
oh, in the newest.
We should
one.
watch the trailer.
I actually haven't even seen the trailer.
Oh, I have. I saw part of a trailer.
Well, you didn't.
So
You didn't know the movie's coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
knew it was coming out. I just forgot when.
do you think more?
There's a few movies coming out like this month because I think they're finally
releasing stuff?
releasing
Yeah.
it. Like Black Widow.
Do you think you're the? Oh, really? Black Widow. I heard rumors they're coming out with one.
Yeah.
Do you think
July 9th.
there are more girls? Because you're a pretty cool chick. Like I'll go on
thanks.
record and say, right? You snowboarded with your cousin's friends, and so it sounds like you have this track record of being a really cool chick. My question for you is:
thank
are there
you.
plenty of
Track
cool
record.
chicks out there, like who are married with husbands that are like, yeah, we should totally like? Do you think there's enough girls out there in like happy marriages that go, we should go see the new Fast and Furious? Do you think there's that, or do you think
I don't know.
you're like a hybrid, like an alien hybrid that's like not from this
I am
world?
an alien.
Interesting.
But I don't know it yet.
Can I ask you as an alien? Can I ask you like how do you what are you and your friends doing when you guys are being caught by the United States Air Force and Navy and this grainy footage? What are you guys doing?
I'm not liberty to discuss.
You're not Liberty or at Liberty. Is this?
I'm not at liberty.
Well, you're
to
not
discuss.
Lady Liberty. Okay, that's fine. But you know.
I had a concussion.
Concussion. You're not Liberty, and you had a concussion, and that's okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. Yeah.
Confidential. It's above my pay grade.
Oh, aliens still get paid?
Yes.
Oh, interesting. I thought you guys are like socialists, where it's like everybody is
Just the
just
same.
part of the overall mission, I guess. Separate but equal.
Listen, maybe I don't know. I'm an alien yet. Maybe I was adopted by humans and
Interesting. A lot of good interesting things they're saying. How are we, to wrap things up, how are we going to handle, if today's day one of summer break for these kids?
wow, we're really circling back to your first question.
This is what a good podcast host does. I'm the host and you're the host. We're
We
co-hosting.
went on so many tangents and are just
But it's been fun. It's been a
circling
fun.
back.
It's been a fun roller coaster.
It
I've been
has a little
entertained.
nostalgia
Yeah.
for you guys.
I'd listen to this podcast. And if you
Sometimes
do, share with your friends.
Also,
Yeah.
rate and review.
Wow, you're not good at outro. In fact,
I'm terrible.
How bad you are at outros, because you'll probably do this in the next couple of minutes here. I'm going to give you, you're doing the outro today.
No.
Yes, you are.
No.
What do you mean?
It's too much pressure. I can't do it.
Nope, I'm
Too
not doing
much pressure.
it. Well, I'm not doing
Then
it.
I'm just going to say
And
bye.
You can't say bye. There has to be a
gonna
wind down.
happen.
You have to do a call to action. They call
No.
it CTA, call to
I
action.
can't. It's too much pressure.
Well, look, you'd be like, hey,
I
guys, thanks for
start-
listening.
My lips get all heavy. My tongue, I can't. And
What?
I start lisping.
You have palsy? Cerebral?
No, it's too much pressure. And I start
You
like
got it. No, you had it.
overthinking what
How
I
many
wanna
YouTube
say.
videos have you seen me going like, hey guys, thanks so much for listening, watching. Thanks.
You're
If
great
you
at
like
it.
the Irina channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and tap the notification bell to be alerted every time a video comes out.
Listen.
What's up?
You know what you're doing.
No.
You're doing it.
But I want to see how you do it.
No. I need to practice.
Practice right now.
No. Nope.
What if the way you do it, because it's so organic and so from the heart, because like you're not practicing it, that it
It
causes...
wouldn't be from the heart. It would be me going,
No,
yeah.
you won't.
Yes,
No,
it would.
you know how to turn it on, right? So you turn it on.
No,
you just turn
it's
it.
too much
What if we
pressure.
get millions of people listening to this podcast because of you?
For my outro?
Yeah, outro.
Outro.
Give it a
Outro.
So, how are we gonna handle the remainder of the summer break? That's what, 2 months long? How long is it?
Today was day one. It did not go well. In my defense,
But first of all, I was ready for this. That I
your
made a
schedule was bad.
Well, I'm sorry. Did you? Okay, I
You
made
did lunch at 11 a.m. They ate breakfast at 10 a.m.
I was a
Also,
proactive.
who eats lunch at 11 a.m.?
Old people.
Exactly.
Young people and old people. Listen, I was
He made the schedule that said
now,
lunch at 11 a.m.
Yeah,
Although
but they sleep until 8 and they're always hungry. So it's a snack at 10, lunch at 11. You know,
If they sleep until 8,
I give them 2 hours of TV time.
That only gives them like 2 hours.
Well, when kids are bored, they're always hungry. So I'm like, we're
True.
getting that off the table. So you can wake up, you have breakfast. 2 hours later, you have a snack.
Lunch is
After
at
that,
noon.
you have lunch. Noon. Oh my gosh, noon. People need to stop it with noon lunch. It's okay.
Why?
Well, because like I would be like the whole premise of noon. I'm always like noon could be between 11 and 1, and apparently
No.
noon is 12 sharp.
I think you're thinking of afternoon. Noon is 1, 2 p.m.
We're also adults. We can eat lunch whenever we want.
No, but the actual time, noon, means
It's
12
12
p.m.
o'clock. Okay, so what about 12:30? Is
dot.
that still noon?
That's noon 30.
Come on. That's noon 30. It's like I remember one comedian making a joke about this. Like
No, that's why they say high noon. It's noon.
who says high noon?
I want to.
Who
I
s-
never have had the
Quarter-
opportunity to say it.
It's quarter-
And I just did.
It's a fourth moon tonight. Like what is it? Is it Wednesday? What is that? High noon?
I think noon
If you say high noon, you have to eat lunch at 11 o'clock with the old people. High noon.
It's high noon. That means the sun is high. That's why they call it noon.
Low noon?
No,
Can we say low noon too?
High noon means the sun is directly above you.
Who's looking up to the sky when to have lunch?
Me.
No, you don't.
Oh, look, the sun is above us.
Yeah, we should go have food.
We should
Is this
eat lunch.
what-
But it probably goes back to our ancestors.
No, they don't.
didn't-
No,
they
it
could. Shh,
They didn't have refrigeration. They ate when they
No.
could.
I know, but I'm
Tribes wouldn't eat sometimes for multiple
saying,
days because the men couldn't bring it.
Then?
What's that?
How did the schedule come about? You eat breakfast at 8. You eat
Great
lunch
question.
At 12.
That's from the sugar lobbyists, where they came up with the marketing pitch of when people came back from World War II, they're trying to get people to go back into farm working, but now they're going into high-end jobs and getting educations. So they came up with that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, which is a guy
Wrong.
who invented that and had like 10 physicians sign off on it as like bribe them off, pay them off, and then now they're discovering that is the most false information. Because our ancestors...
Let's eat a bunch of sugar at
were-
8 in the morning.
Exactly. Now, our ancestors were... I have actually a funny, true story about cereal to tell you and the origins of it. That our ancestors would go multiple days sometimes because the men would go out and try to get animals to harvest. And sometimes they would come back with nothing. And so the whole premise of having prolonged time that you didn't eat is one of the most healthiest things for you. And in our time today...
Should be another podcast episode.
Oh, we should. Conspiracy Cuties number 2.
Yes.
So anyway, there's actually more damage that happens to our bodies when we are in a sedentary lifestyle where we eat and sit.
Yeah.
Your body's actually being more destructive versus when we have periods of not eating, the body actually eats away cancerous cells and all that stuff. But here we're going to end on a really fun story. The origins of cereal was John Kellogg, who started the whole cereal thing. And here is an interesting thing. He wanted to create a breakfast meal. Okay, so he saw a problem. Too many people were being way too horny. That's what they're saying. Like young people are like all too horned up and stuff like that. So
this is real?
this is a true story. You
Oh.
can look it up. He wanted to have these people to basically chill out. He's like a hyper religious guy. He wanted to get rid of the sexual drive that all these hornballs are doing. So he came up with a bland cereal. That was Kellogg's first kind of cereal into the marketplace, and from that was the intention of getting people to be less horny. And
But what would the eating have anything to do with it?
because if you're eating bland food, the thought process they had is like eating bland food makes you less
spicy
horny.
food makes you way
Yes!
horny.
Yes, spicy food too sexual. Sweet food is too sexual. Spicy food, obviously,
Way too sexual.
Spicy señorita, you can't do that.
Nope.
So he's like,
gotta
let's
be
make
as
it bland. That way, they're like the Amish. That about your colors are not too flashy. They're not seductive. You're eating boring cereals, therefore you're
But
not.
now
getting
it's all
horned up.
the sugariest.
Our kids are eating not Fruit Loops, Lucky Charms. Who knows what they're going through their body right now?
It's bad. We
Okay.
we don't really let them eat cereal, but we got 2 boxes because we went camping. So going back to cereal, I had this like rule, especially after learning about like where cereal came from and like what the premise of it was, like eating breakfast.
Oh, so you knew the whole breakfast, the most important meal of the day
you
is
were
a
the one-
false? Oh.
Yeah, you told me about that
Okay,
a
well.
long time ago. Anyway, so we don't. I mean, our kids never really eat cereal, but when we go camping, we let them
Mama
eat.
balls out.
We let them eat whatever they want in the morning. That's like our little treat. Is like if you want to get cereal, and they'll get, of course, Lucky Charms every time. So when we came back, we had a box of Lucky Charms left, and that's what they've been eating.
What is the deal with Lucky Charms marshmallows?
I think it's so gross.
Well, but like kids, I get it. Kids will eat anything super sugary, like what do they call
But even
Cocoa
adults
Puffs.
like it.
Adults go crazy. Like I saw some kind of meme like about inventing a machine that only takes the marshmallows out of the thing. Who are these adults who are mind blown about marshmallows in a kid's cereal?
No.
The dumbest thing in the world. You know what's my favorite cereal when I used to eat it? Was not cinnamon toasted crunch. It was the honey oats. What are
Honey
they called?
Bunches of Oats?
Honey bunches
I
of
loved
oats.
those cereals.
See,
I
we're
love that
boring
cereal.
because it tastes like a granola bar.
Yes, and it was just like really crunchy and good.
And then we
I
go for
loved
mall
that.
walks, and
Yeah.
then we do jazzercise exercise.
with our what is it called, orthopedic shoes.
Orthopedic shoes. Yep.
I liked Captain Crunch too,
Captain Crunch was okay.
only because it stayed pretty crunchy even with milk in it, and that's what I think I liked. I like the texture. I don't like soggy.
Cinnamon toasted crunch was a good favorite of mine.
I didn't love that. It was a little bit too
much.
a little bit too much.
It was a little too much.
Golden Grams are good.
Golden Grams.
It tastes like graham
Don't
crackers.
remember Golden Grams. This has been fun.
Tell us what your favorite cereal is.
Yeah. Mrs. M, hit him with
No.
the outro. Come
I'm
on,
not.
give it a try. Let's do it together.
Can I just say bye? Thanks for listening.
But
Thanks
how
for
do you do a call to
subscribing.
action? You have to do a call to action.
You do the call to action.
No. You tell them. You give them direction because they don't know what to do. They're like, oh, I love this podcast. This is really entertaining. But what do I do after here?
Because that's what people ask.
They're like, how do I keep listening to stuff like that? How do I get more content like that?
Well, if you want to listen, we are on. Oh, if you're already listening, you already know.
You can say we're on every
Platform.
podcast platform.
Okay, we're on every podcast.
Perfect.
Can you tell me what to say and I'll say it?
Okay, so tell them, thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
If you like
Hey,
this content,
if you like this content,
we're
on every podcast platform there is.
You're just going
Make
rogue.
sure you
You're
guys
going rogue.
listen.
You're off
You guys
script.
rate, you subscribe,
Yeah.
you review us, share with your friends.
Yeah, tag us. Yeah.
Tag us.
You did great. See, millions of people are gonna go subscribe now.
Thanks for listening, you guys.
Bye. Guys.